Hello everyone. So here's another installment from the Arabian Nights, the second voyage of Sindbad the sailor. Watch and read along. The second voyage of Sindbad the sailor. O Sindbad, do not risk another voyage, warned my family. Remember the dangers which befell you last time. Think what monsters are lying in wait for you now. But I, Sindbad, the famous sailor, would let nothing change my mind. I went to the bazaar and bought a fresh cargo of spices, herbs, and other precious goods. Finding a ship bound for the distant Indies, I said farewell to my family and sailed away again. We did not see land for many weeks. Then, one morning, we awoke to find an island close by. Neither the captain of the ship nor his crew knew where we were. Being short of food and water, we went ashore. What a paradise! Leafy trees grew everywhere, and the grass was as deep and soft as a feather bed. The flowers smelled sweetly, and huge oranges and lemons grew on the bushes. The rivers ran deep with cool, refreshing water. I went off to explore. It was not long before I felt tired and lay down on a bed of grass to rest. "This must be heaven," said I. "Perhaps I will sleep a while." I felt very drowsy with all the sweet smells in the air. Soon I was fast asleep, dreaming of my family back in Baghdad. When I awoke, I wondered where I was for a moment. It was evening and the island was silent. Not a bird stirred, not a leaf on the trees moved. I climbed to my feet and looked around. I glanced towards the shore. "My ship! My ship!" I cried in panic. I ran to the water's edge. The ship had sailed away. Even then, I could see its distant sails clearly against the sinking sun. "They've left me behind," I sobbed. "I've been forgotten." I watched as the ship finally vanished from view. "Alone again," I cursed. "O Sindbad, why did you not stay at home with your friends? Allah saved you once, but this adventure will be the end of you." I searched the island. Not one human being did I find. The place was deserted. Soon night fell and new terrors filled my head. What dreadful monsters would eat me as I slept? I dozed with one eye open all night and felt very relieved when dawn broke the next day. I climbed the tallest tree I could find to get a better view of the island. My eye saw something gleaming at the heart of the lonely isle. "A house!" I cried. "It must be a house!" I jumped from the tree and scampered off in the direction of what I had seen. I was sure I would soon find help. But when I reached the spot, I was puzzled. What a peculiar house it was! A circle of wooden branches surrounded a huge white dome. It rose high in the air. I walked around it, counting my steps. 100 paces, I marveled. A big house indeed, yet it has neither door nor windows. I was still trying to find a way in when the sky darkened and a mysterious black shadow spread over me. I thought a thundercloud had covered the sun. I looked up and saw that I was in mortal danger. "Allah, be merciful!" I cried. There above my head was an enormous bird. its huge wings hiding the whole sky. It was coming in to land, and if I was not mistaken, it had chosen my head as the very spot on which to settle. I trembled as the flying monster descended. "It's a roc," I realized in terror. "A bird so large it feeds its young on elephants." It was then that I understood what the circle of wood was and the large dome. This was a nest, and the dome was the roc's egg. "Merciful Allah, I'm about to be hatched," I cried. But the roc took no notice of me and landed on the nest, settling on the egg. I was pinned beneath one of the bird's legs. I dared not move. Each time the bird changed position to make itself more comfortable, its feathers tickled me. I pinched my nose to stop myself from sneezing. If it discovered me, I knew I was done for. Then I realized the bird had fallen asleep, and I began to think of escape. I had an idea. Trapped beneath the monster, I began to unwrap a rope to the roc's leg, and the other I wrapped around my waist. This is my only chance, I thought. When the roc takes off in the morning, perhaps it'll carry me to another island. I stayed awake all night. In the morning, the great bird awoke and stretched its wings. My heart was racing. Flap, 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 the beating wings at last lifted the bird aloft. Hanging from the bird's foot, I rose into the air too. The roc, so strong and powerful, did not notice its terrified passenger. Together we soared high into the sky. The island below soon disappeared as we flew far out to sea. What a view I had! The whole world was laid out beneath me. Presently the roc began to descend. I saw another island. The bird flew towards it and landed. Bump! I saw stars as I hit the ground. Then I decided Sindbad the sailor had been a bird long enough. I untied myself and scrambled free. Just then I saw the bird's gaping beak dart at something in the undergrowths. I did not wait to see what it was. I ran for my life. I had not gone far when another dark cloud passed over my head. It was the roc again. It had taken off with its first meal of the day. A gigantic, writhing serpent hung from the bird's fierce talons. I was relieved to see both roc and snake disappear out to sea. I looked around me. What place is this? I wondered. What dreadful fate awaits me now? The gods did not disappoint me. I was in a deep valley which clearly had no way in and no way out. High mountains surrounded me. I sat down and sobbed again. I'm trapped. Allah had forsaken me. Then I noticed how my tears seemed to sparkle. I looked at the ground below me and was astonished to see that it was covered with diamonds. The precious gems lay scattered everywhere. I realized then where I was. This was the legendary Valley of Diamonds. I had heard great explorers tell of it before. No man had set foot in the valley and come out alive. The story they told was that every diamond was guarded by a giant serpent. I shivered with fear. But seeing no serpents, I forgot about my troubles for a moment and collected as many diamonds as I could carry. By evening, my trousers and shirt bulged with the valuable stones. I found a cave to hide for the night. There was a huge rock at its entrance. Once I was inside, I managed to roll it across. No serpent could sneak up on me now. I was safe. I settled down to sleep. My eyes were almost closed when I heard a movement at the bottom of the cave. I sat bolt upright and stared into the darkness, dreading what I might see. First, two ghostly green lights appeared, quickly followed by several pairs of smaller ones. "Merciful gods!" I shrieked. "They are eyes! It's a serpent and her young!" I scrambled to the cave entrance and heaved at the rock. It rolled aside just as the serpent's hissing tongue was whipping at my ankles. I fled for my life once more. Leaping, falling, rolling, I escaped down the hill to the valley floor. I was still running as fast as my quivering legs would carry me when I felt something sharp catch my shirt. "Oh, Sindbad, this is the end," I howled. I was still running, but my feet were not touching the ground anymore. I was flying in the air. I turned my head and saw the worst. It was not a rock this time, but a great eagle. The creature had me firmly gripped in its talons. "Oh Allah, take my life now," I cried. "A giant rock tries to crush me, huge serpents chase me, and now an eagle will no doubt feed me to its young." The eagle flew swiftly over the mountains and out to sea. I struggled to free myself from the bird's claws. I would rather have fallen to my death in the ocean than be torn to pieces in a nest of young eagles. But I was held firm. I saw land approaching once more and prepared to meet my death. The bird swooped lower and lower. I saw its nest. 4 hungry beaks pointed to the sky. Just then I heard a shout. The ground was very close and I felt the eagle's wings jerk. There was another shout and the bird's claws loosened their grip. One more shout and they released me. I tumbled through the air. "What now?" I thought as I fell towards. Perhaps an elephant will roll on me. But there was a surprise in store for me. I fell straight into a thick, leafy bush. Standing beside it was a man, looking at me with very surprised eyes. "Mysterious traveler, who are you?" he asked, as I climbed out of the bush, realizing that it was the man's shouts which had frightened the bird into dropping me. "I'm Sindbad the sailor," I replied proudly. "And this, I hope, is the happy end of my adventures." I told the man my story, and he was truly amazed. "You are indeed a lucky man," he said. "No one has ever escaped from the Valley of Diamonds." Diamonds! I had forgotten all about them. I emptied my trousers and shirt. My huge collection of diamonds was safe. The man stared at the glittering pile. "What jewels!" he cried. "A king could not be richer." At that moment, I was more interested in finding my way home. "You shall have half of the diamonds if you can find a ship to carry me home," I said. "It is easily done," he replied. "I am the captain of a ship visiting this island. We sail tomorrow. You will journey with us." So I set sail for home again. On the way, I traded my diamonds at many different islands. I was a rich man again. My family and friends welcomed me home, and when they heard of my adventures, they made me promise never to set to sea again. I happily agreed, and for many months I lived a splendid life in Baghdad. I became famous for my adventures and many important people came to feast with me and hear my stories. I grew lazy and fat. Yet, slowly, day by day, I grew uneasy and yearned to travel again. My family tried to persuade me against such folly, but I had already forgotten about the terrors of the rock, the serpents, and the eagle. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this story. I got some suggestions from some of you saying that you would like to listen to Panchatantra stories or Akbar Birbal stories. Some of you sent me some very specific books that you would like me to take for my video stories. So thank you so much for all your suggestions. Keep them coming. Stay connected on wordsworthworkshops@gmail.com. And until the next story, take care. See you soon.